Our Twins, a new edition calf captures visitors are cows in Vrindavan. May 2008. Gobar Art Gallery. Sri Gobar Devi Care for Cows in Vrindavan. CFC Trustees Vraja Mohan Dasa, Hayavalabha Dasa, Amit Dhulani, Rakesh Rahira. Patrons Radha Jivan Dasa, Suresh Vajiani. CFC Staff Kurmarupa Dasa, Nanda Kaiser Dasa, Syam Gauri Dasi, Braja Gopal Dasa, Switzerland, Laxmi Rupa Dasi, Denmark, Isani Devi Dasi, Holland, Dr. J.P. Lavanya Satyadeva Singh Radha Karan Dasa, Krishnamai I Dasi, Syam Hari Vijay, Ramu, Santosh. Newsletter editors. Kurmarupa Dasa, Syam Gauri Dasi. Care for Cows in Vrindavana is inspired by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Dear friends, Lalita and Krishnamai found a cow laying flat on the road in the glaring sun. They told the Vrajabasai owner that they wanted to try to help her. He mentioned that the vet had given her medicine that morning and was expecting her recovery. The cow was close to death, so they insisted she get further help. The bullock cart driver demanded triple the price to transport the cow, then feigned defeat and settled for double. Upon arrival, the cow was laid on a sand bed under the fan and offered food and water. She refused and deliriously lay flat, breathing heavily. The owner arrived to announce that for 6 generations his family served cows in their home and that this cow was giving 2 liters of milk a day. He asked if he could milk her now. I looked at him incredulously and he dismissed me, saying he would wait until morning. That night she died, and in the morning I told the owner we would bury her in the compound after offering Ganges water, a rose garland and incense. He folded his hands and asked what he could do, and I said he could arrange for the garland and a chatter to cover her with. He agreed, left abruptly and never returned. The rude truth, an orientation toward profit coupled with the inability to give, announce the presence of greed and the absence of bhakti. Jaya Sri Guru. Jaya Sri Gopala. Jaya Sri Gomata. The CFC's TAF-CA-REFORCOWS.org. Care for Cows in Vrindavan is a charitable trust registered in India, USA, Holland, and Switzerland. Sri Gobar Devi. Above, detail from a mural. Gobar Art Gallery. Gobar, cow dung, has been used for flooring and wall covering in the villages of India for millennia. Its antiseptic qualities, natural earthy color and soothing effect on the mind are well known. Village women are known to stack dried gobar paddies, kanda, and plaster the mass with wet cow dung and thus create small huts of stored fuel for later use in cooking and heating. They often carve primitive decorative designs or motifs on the sides of the huts to distinguish them from those made by their neighbors. They often knead fresh gobar into a mass and form it into simple shapes which they stick on the walls for simple decoration. The more artistic women far left, a gopi carrying clay pots fashioned in the traditional South Indian style left, posters depicting the Lilas of Radha and Krishna, each adorned with a unique gobar frame, decorate the story case. Below, a beehive dripping with honey fashion gobar into intricate geometric designs for decoration celebrating various festivals. Having lived in India for many years and appreciating the simple village lifestyle, Indra Dasa has taken the traditional village decor to new heights into what is coming to be known as Gob art. Indra is very well known internationally for his excellence in bhajan and kirtana, devotional music, as he has been orchestrating the 24-hour kirtana service, Akhanda Kirtan Mandala, in the Sri Sri Krishna Balaram Mandir in Sri Vrindavan Dhamma for more than 20 years. This involves organizing devotional musicians in shifts so that there is constant chanting of the Lord's names. In above, a mural of Krishna, who is known as Vamsidhara, he who holds the flute, standing atop the temple around the clock. His devotion to the service has attracted an international troupe of kirtanas to reside in Vrindavan. It seems that now Indra is destined to become well known in the field of interior design as well, using gobar as the principal medium. Not being satisfied with the ordinary state of the ashrama decor and the effect it had on the morale of his troupe, Indra transformed the area of the building in which they live by covering the walls atop Govardhana hill with his cows with a mixture of gobar and clay, and then fashioning elaborate floral motifs, frames, murals, and bas-relief sculpture using gobar mixed with silicone. Once dried and varnished, the final product appears like carved wood. The scenes in the murals depict several famous pastimes or lilas of Krishna and his gopas and gopis, cowherd friends. The most impressive is a mural of Govardhana Hill showing Krishna playing the flute under an intoxicated tree as the cows graze on the hill. The sky is decorated with a stunning sun, clouds, and flocks of birds. Several types of birds including parrots and peacocks decorate the landscape, which display many kinds of creepers. Above left, a mural depicting Krishna and his friends grazing the cows on Govardhana Hill. Left, detail of the Govardhana Hill mural, Krishna's friend Madhumangala hiding in a cave eating sweets. Top, a photograph of Sri Sri Radha Syamasundara framed in Gobar decorates the ashrama. Bordering the ceiling, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra appears in relief in 5 languages around the ashrama. Above, an intoxicated peacock dances in the enchanting forest of Vraja. Vines and even beehives. There are several large paintings and photographs depicting Sri Krishna's pastimes with Srimati Radharani and other dedicated residents of Vraja. Each is decorated with an intricate Gobar frame of unique design. Other murals depict the famous swan Srimati Radharani sent to deliver a message to Krishna. Right, Mother Yasoda watching as Gopal Krishna drinks milk directly from the teat of a cow who licks him as if he were her calf. Bottom right, gopis carrying clay pots on their head, peacocks dancing, trees laden with fruits and many more. There is even a scene depicting a gopi making cow dung patties. Everyone agrees that by using and improving traditional Indian village decor, the ashrama has undergone an uplifting transformation positively affecting all residents and visitors. Indra Prabhu has creatively demonstrated the wonderful and salubrious effect cow dung can have in making homes and residences warmer and more peaceful. Above, detail of Sari on Hamsadutta mural on right are cows in Vrindavan by Madhava Dasa. In the autumn of 2007, I had the great fortune of guiding my eldest son Srivas Kirtan, age 10, to Vrindavana for his first time. Due to my natural fatherly affection, I wanted him to experience Vrindavana in a way that he would always remember. Because we are so far away from Vrindavana, our chances to visit are few and far between. Keeping that in mind, I Madhava Dasa, Srivas Kirtan with Vrinda wanted to give him a good dose and, at the same time, not push Vrindavana too hard on him. After our first week of settling in and bringing Srivas to the more famous and wonderful places in Vrindavana, we finally made our way over to care for cows. This was also my first visit to CFC, even though I had been to Vrindavana 4 other times in the past 25 years. I was a newcomer to the project as well. I heard of the project by word of mouth. I was trying to find nice places to bring Srivas on his first pilgrimage to the Dhamma. We heard was how wonderful it was there, and so we grabbed a rickshaw, and off we went. We didn't know what we were about to experience, we were trying to imagine what it would be like. Our ride through the Madhuvana colony was bumpy, and we noticed the heaps of garbage, now common in Vrindavana, along the paths. Cows, pigs, and dogs were rummaging through the refuse. Our driver reached a gate, stopped, and said, "Kurmarupa Prabhu here." We entered the gate and took our first look around. We saw a Mataji with a few local cowhands resetting a splint on a cow. We stood watching the care being given. Our hearts immediately went out to this cow, wondering how she came to this condition. After she was done, Syamgauri Dasi, the one administering care for the cow, stood up and introduced herself, and we asked if there was anyone who could show us around. She said she was busy, but we were welcome to tag along as she made her rounds. Of primary concern at the time of our visit was a new arrival from Radhakunda. Her name was Mandakini, and she had suffered from a split hip from slipping on the stone-paved lanes of Radhakunda. Mandakini had just given birth to a calf 3 weeks prior and was helpless to care for her. As she lay there at Radhakunda over some days, uncaring persons would come and take her milk Mandakini and just leave her there. A local cow project in Radhakunda took her in but was unable to administer to her serious condition because of the difference in their medical facilities. She and her calf were then transferred to CFC, where it was determined by Dr. Lavanya that Mandakini would never walk again. Her young calf seemed confused to see her mom down and unable to give her the motherly care she expected, but at least they were together and no longer exploited on the streets of Radhakunda. The day we visited was Mandakini's second day, and she was getting this most wonderful care and attention by all the staff. I was impressed by Siam Gauri's skill in caring for the residents, and immediately the hearts of both my son and myself were completely taken by this project. Seeing the urgency of the staff's care for Mandakini made us want to help, and I asked if we could sponsor her. Siam Gauri said that they do not immediately put up urgent care residents for sponsorship because, unfortunately, they do not know how long they will be with us, but her calf, who we later named Vrinda, was equally in need of care. Vrinda could no longer nurse from mom in her condition, and there was increased worry for her as she was not taking too well to the bottle feeding method. She was eating a little grain with her mom, but she was very skinny and weak. We spent the flash through my mind again and again. Never again will I look at the cows in Vrindavana the same. We sometimes have this idealistic view of Vrindavana that everything is transcendental. Preconceived notions that cows wandering in the streets of 21st century Vrindavana is a wonderful sight. At first glance we may think, this is wonderful. Where else in the world would you see this? Upon closer look, however, they are suffering from lack of love and care. Sure, the residents of Braja don't kill and eat them, but exploitation is going on in many other ways. As we passed the same garbage heaps on the way back, we took special notice of a cow rummaging through, rest of the afternoon, and our hearts brushing, petting, and getting to know both of them. On our way back to our rooms, images of what we had just experienced went out to her. She, and every cow in Vrindavana, should receive the same care and attention as the cows we just met. Getting back to our room, I felt that our visit to CFC was the most wonderful thing that had happened to me thus far on my pilgrimage. I saw that my hearing and chanting improved and all my appreciations of the Dhamma increased. Even my son, whom I thought was still too young to really appreciate, showed intense emotion for what we just witnessed. He kept talking of how cute Vrinda was and how he could not wait to see her again. We decided then and there to go back the next morning. The next day as we made our way over there, we kept thinking of our calf Vrinda and her mom. What could we do for them? Will she remember us? Will she have eaten or drank some milk? Worries of new parents for the loved one filled our souls as we entered the compound. The sun was just rising when we walked in, and there, lying in the sun, was this darling calf. The sight of her was the last straw to fully captivate our hearts for this project. We inched closer to her, trying not to wake her. We each sat down near her and began to stroke her soft but bony body. She was too tired and weak to really care who we were, and she rested her chin on my thigh as we gave her all the attention she deserved. Srivas became a little bored with sitting and soon began to make new friends with all the curious CFC residents. Hanuman was a rambunctious calf who, once you start to pet him, will not allow you to pet anyone else. There was Radhika and Janardana, the Nilgai. Then there was Krishna, the Padayatra ox who was retired there. He was so stately and majestic, even in his old age. Krishna has since left his body, and we both are honored to have met him. Then came the twice-daily festival of feeding time. All the residents knew when this time was. They would line up near the gate and wait for the staff members to come and open the gate and lead them to the prasadam hall. Once opened, a stampede would commence. The dust would rise and visions of this must have been what it was like, flashed over my mind. We finally had met Gurmarupa Prabhu on our third visit. It was amazing to see how the residents have so much affection for him. They walk up to him and nuzzle to him. His love for them, and theirs for him, was wonderful to see. He finally was able to get Vrinda to take some milk from a bottle. She also was introduced to another cow who had recently given birth and was allowed to get milk directly from her. That was a relief to all involved. So each day, sometimes twice a day, Srivas and myself would come to CFC, check on Mandakini and Vrinda, and absorb ourselves in the association with the greatest of all Vraja's residents. This is the Vrindavana mood, love and care for Gopal Krishna's cows. One day, when we were down doing some shopping in Loy Bazaar, Srivas said, "Let's go there." He was pointing to Gangotri's cloth shop. I thought to myself, but I'm a loyal patron to Gangaprasida, what does he want in there? I did not protest, and so we entered. Srivas pointed to a t-shirt. "I want that one," he said. It was a beautiful print of a cow and her calf on a bright orange tee. "Are you sure you don't want another color?" I said. Srivas replied, "Nope, this is the one." The next day, as we prepared to head out to CFC, Srivas grabbed his gamsha with him. I wondered what on earth for, but I did not want to interrupt his mood. I was starting to catch on. Dressed in a dhoti, a bright orange cow and calf t-shirt, and then tying the gamsha around his waist, Srivas entered CFC, now dressed exactly as the other local staff members. I could see how CFC touched my son, and I felt great fatherly affection for both my son and for CFC. Srivas admiring Sati and Rukmini, Srivas bonding with Vrinda blessing Srivas. Srivas spent the rest of that visit feeding leaves to the cows from the overhanging trees that were out of reach of their mouths. As our visit to Vraja was coming to a close, we purchased some stainless steel containers. We were ready to go and collect some dust of Vrindavana like most pilgrims do. Instead of immediately going to the usual places, like the Yamuna, Krishna Balarama Mandir, or any other favorite tirtha in the Dhamma, I tucked my container in my bag. I had another place in mind, not found in the guidebooks. Our last visit to CFC was tearful as we said goodbye to our darling Vrinda. We embraced Mandakini and wished her well. She was doing better by now but was still under close watch. Just as we were about to leave, I lifted Vrinda's hoof up and collected a container full of sand and dust. Of all places in Vraja, I felt most inspired and Krishna conscious right there in the CFC compound. The love and devotion flowing from that small tirtha is enough to soften the heart of even a hard-hearted soul like me. Having returned to the west from Vraja, one of the first things we did was to log on to carefercows.com and see Vrinda again. I was excited to share our experience with my wife, Guru Seva, and our other son, Ramai. It was my first time to visit the site and we quickly downloaded many pictures, which now plaster my desktop and screensaver. Mandakini was doing better, enough that she was adoptable, and we at once put in the request to sponsor her to keep our love flowing. Srivas collecting natural snacks for the cows, Vrinda resting in the winter sun, Vrinda with winter coat to Vrinda's mom as well. However, a few months after that, Mandakini left her body. She succumbed to the fact that downed cows just don't have a great chance. Srivas and I cried. She was now like a close relative to us. Her and Vrinda's photos accompany our Giriraja and Nimainitai deities. We were glad to have been able to support her for her brief time at CFC, but we know for certain that she had the best care, perhaps outside of Krishna's hand himself. Or rather, I believe Krishna's hand is directly taking care of these cows by the Care for Cows project. We have now adopted another cow, Gaura Purnima, the granddaughter of Jadila, and we hope to adopt more and more as we are able. I hope my account of our precious memories and realizations will inspire others to take part in this wonderful seva that, in my mind, is no doubt very, very dear Mandakini to Gopala Krishna. Gaura Purnima Vrinda, a deer was injured by a pack of dogs and brought to CFC for treatment. A new addition of full-grown deer was brought to our clinic from Kosi by a servant of the forest department. The deer had been attacked by dogs and suffered a severely broken limb, loss of one eye and several gashes. An attempt was made to save his limb but it had to be amputated owing to gangrene. He is now recovering and adjusting to living in the Goshala. We are hopeful he will be able to live in captivity. He has regained his health and is feeding well. Street calf captures visitors upon arrival. The calf was barely conscious. Her face was covered with mud from lying flat in the street. Dr. Lavanya gave an intravenous injection to combat blood parasites. The three foreign pilgrims were on their way to find some breakfast when they saw a white calf lying on the side of the road almost lifeless. After examining her they appealed to the many passers-by, but not knowing the language met with either helplessness or apathy. but the calf required help, so the three persisted and soon found out about Care for Cows, called and arranged for us to pick them up. Siam Gowrie called Dr. Lavanya, who arrived shortly after and announced that the calf was blind, dehydrated and indeed in very serious condition. She couldn't even lift her head. He diagnosed her as having a blood parasite and administered an intravenous injection while the three pilgrims continuously chanted the holy names of Krishna around the calf. Dr. Lavanya then administered a glucose drip, and after 30 minutes the calf gained strength. Oh! How they cheered! Eka Gopi, Arya Kula and Gunamela shoo flies from Surabhi and encourage her to recover. Surabhi, still blind and walking in circles. Surabhi, now able to see, is well on her way to recovery. The three women were visiting from Venezuela, Mexico and Uruguay and began an animated conversation in Spanish. They organized so that one or more of them would be with the calf for the rest of the day and cheered further as she got the strength to stand and walk in tight circles. They brought her spinach, bananas, and carrots and hand-fed her as mothers do their own children. The love, concern, and encouragement they showed boosted the calf's morale and she sped towards recovery. They thanked Dr. Lavanya for saving the calf, but he refused to take the credit and attributed her recovery to the chanting of the Lord's holy names and to the concern the pilgrims had for the patient, who they named Surabhi. During the remainder of their pilgrimage the women visited Surabhi daily, and Eka Gopi, who lives in Austin, Texas, promised to sponsor her maintenance and in this way stay connected to Sri Vrindavan Dhamma and the memories she shared here. Twin report: on March 13, 2005 Gowrie gave birth to twin calves, one male and one female. One was reddish, the other white, so they were named Madhava and Maladi after a creeper found in Vrindavan which bears red and white flowers. The twins have been perfectly healthy during the last 3 years and, like their mother, are very gentle and mild-mannered. They are being sponsored by Ananda Dasa from Guatemala. May cows stay in front of me, may cows stay behind me, may cows stay on both sides of me. May I always reside in the midst of cows. Harry Bhaktivila 16.252 Alessandro Petrezzi, Italy Ananda Dasa, Guatemala Anand, Singapore Chandramukha Dasi, USA Chitrakatu Bharati, India Christian Kastner, Germany Constance, Germany David Kazanow, USA Dhruv Singh, India Dhruva Maharaja Dasa, India Dina Sarana Dasa, USA Dominic Bletz, Germany Donia Salem, USA Eka Gopi, USA L. Mitchell, USA Galoka Chandra Dasa, Malaysia Hemanth Ramana, USA Irmantas Emades, USA Jagannath Dasa, India Jean Farrow, UK Katyayani Dasi, USA Kezani Sudana Dasa. Malaysia Kin Palai Kinzyardanti, USA Kiran Gasain, Qatar Labangalatika Dasi, India Manish Vanadaya, USA Mariana Polinsky, USA Michael Barsalia, USA Musumi Sinha, USA Nanu Priya, Australia Olga Solavi, India Pradai Umna Dasa, USA Pranal Bharath, South Africa Priyanka Sarma, India Radha Jivan Dasa, India Radha Mohan Savaka, India Radha Patti Dasa, India Rakha Kolar, India Rohini Sudha Dasa, Switzerland Roma Punjabi, Canada Sanatani Dasi, Australia Sarah Needs Wiki, USA Saranam Oliver, USA Sarva Sakti Dasi, USA Sigrun Fenning Switzerland Stella Herzig, USA Surendra Shah, UK Suresh Vajiani, UK Thomas Wasni, USA Varun Janeja, India Vidyasagar Lakand, USA Victoria Tim, USA Vinay Vanadaya, USA Veer Nanda, USA Connect to Vrindavan. By sponsoring one or more of our many residents Care for Cows in Vrindavan, the cows send their heartfelt thanks to those who assisted during April 2008. Thank you from the cows.